into subbing.
Alright, turned off. Thank you, everybody. Appreciate it.
Hi, I'm Jonathan Rogers from Grinding Gear Games, and welcome to GGG Live. Today we're going to show you an exclusive reveal of Path of Exile, Keepers of the Flame, which is coming out 1 week from now on October the 31st. Twitch drops are enabled on today's live stream, so you'll be able to claim your Hive-born crawler pet by following the instructions below. Without further ado, let's roll the trailer for Path of Exile, Keepers of the Flame.
We, the Keepers of the Flame, serve the will of the Dreamer. His instructions whispered from beyond the wall of sleep. But now, the Hiveborn are here, on Rayclast, and they seek to poison our world. We must close their breaches, destroy their hives, slay their breach lords. And by his gifts, the Dreamer provides. They brought this war to our world, but we shall end it, whatever it takes.
New skills. Power creep. Okay. I'm ready. Bloodline, yep. I'm ready.
Now, as you can see, this expansion is a true sequel to the Breach League, first introduced to the game in 2016. We felt like it was time to progress the story of Breach, bringing with it a slew of new updates to the base game. In today's stream, we'll take you on a deep dive into Path of Exile, Keepers of the Flame, beginning with the League mechanic, covering all the fearsome challenges it presents, and the new twisted ways you'll be able to empower your character. After that, we'll dive into the new Ascendancy options possible with Bloodline classes. Then we'll cover the much anticipated Asynchronous Trade system coming to Path of Exile 1. Afterwards, we'll move into the new Uber Pinnacle bosses, how to access them, and some new drops worthy of the added difficulty. Finally, we'll cover some notable quality of life improvements before moving on to our supporter packs and challenge rewards. We'll then have a live Q&A session where Ziggy D will ask Path of Exile's game directors Mark and myself your questions from Twitch chat. And after the live stream, we'll drop the full patch notes at 11 AM New Zealand time or 3 PM Pacific. So let's get started. I'll hand things over to Mark to introduce the new league.
Hi, I'm Mark Roberts, Game Director on Path of Exile. Breach is a beloved league that has had an iconic history in PoE. We intend to honour that legacy with our first ever sequel league, Keepers of the Flame. This develops every aspect of Breach, adding new layers to discover, richer lore, scarier bosses, and entirely new mechanics. That said, this is still Breach, so you will still be opening breaches and slaying hordes of otherworldly monsters. The Breach Lords have found the means to stabilize the connection between their realm and Rayclast. Now, with their grip tightening, we learn their true goal in our world, conquest. The threat they pose has now escalated to home soil. On the coast in Act 1, you'll encounter Aelith, the founder of the Keepers of the Flame. This is a monastic order sworn to defend Rayclast from the Breach Lords. The exit to the Mudflats has been barricaded by Hiveborn, Breach monsters that are working to claim every inch of Rayclast. Aelith can grant you a small spark of the power of the Flame, allowing you to blast away their barricade and move onwards. Once you enter the Mudflats, you'll find it infested with Breach monsters. They appear to be constructing a kind of hive, creating strange shapes and structures that absolutely don't belong. Time to purge them with fire. Aelith needs you to protect her as she empowers the flame to do so. Hold off the assault long enough, and she'll be able to demolish the hive with cleansing flame.
Stationary, huh?
In other areas, the gap between worlds is strained. Here, you'll find a more familiar encounter with a new twist.
Cool.
A massive breach hand sunders the space between dimensions, and touching it will open an unstable breach, causing monsters to flood in.
It's a hybrid. Oh, that's interesting.
If you can slaughter them quickly enough, you can stabilize the breach. This brazen action can draw the attention of Vroon, Marshal of Zesht, who will do everything it can to stop you. Defeating this boss will permanently seal the breach, severing another connection between the Breachlord's world and Rayclast.
He's poison PV.
These stabilized breaches are similar to what a breach once was, but with upgraded monsters, a success condition to shoot for, UI tracking to keep the player informed of their progress through the encounter, and satisfying feedback when you do manage to complete the encounter. We've taken all the lessons we've learned since the release of Breach 9 years ago and improved upon it in every way we can. However, much of the joy of Breach came from its simplicity. While we want to modernize the mechanic, we don't want to undermine the core experience. You're still mostly just slaughtering hordes of enemies in a circle.
Nice.
Finally, in endgame areas you might run into breach constructions that have been left unopposed for too long, and have grown into their full twisted glory. Breach hives. Towering flesh-crafted cities in the sky. These are the visions of the Breachlords made real in Rayclast, teeming with breach monsters. You must raid and destroy these cities with the help of Aelith and her flame. In some of these hives, you may even encounter some of the Breachlords themselves, who will not be happy you're intruding on their planned conquest. Now, let's talk loot. Of course, being an exile is hard work, and you're unlikely to help entirely out of the goodness of your heart. Fortunately, Aelith has power and rewards aplenty, born of the Breach Realm itself, to offer you for your assistance. Help her, and she'll bring you to the Monastery of the Keepers, the hallowed halls of her order. Here, you'll find the Genesis Tree, the growing heart of the Keeper's power. On interacting with it, you'll find that this tree has a tree. That's right. It couldn't be Path of Exile unless the tree also had a tree.
True.
More importantly, the Genesis Tree is an engine of unholy creation, and a profitable one. As you complete breach encounters and work more with Aelith, you'll be able to grow the Genesis Tree larger and larger, sprouting additional limbs. Each of these limbs, you'll notice, has their own inventories. These can be used for an unusual method of crafting new items.
The fuck?
With this system, you'll be able to grow currency, uniques, equipment, and a new kind of otherworldly item, grafts. Grafts are breach hands grown directly from the Genesis Tree, born of the same flesh and sinew as the invading monsters. These fuse directly to your body, in a completely safe process.
Those are the items.
Don't worry about it. With grafts, you can harness the power of the breach. Some provide passive benefits like this, or this, but they can also grant a wide selection of powerful skills. These graft skills can provide a flexible way to fill gaps in your build, offering everything from damage to potent defensive buffs and crowd control.
Defense?
For example, the Battering All graft will call massive arms to erupt from the earth, stunning all those they hit.
What the fuck is
For
this
some
number?
additional pack clearing power, you could consider the Squalling Tool graft. When commanded, this graft will cast Dance in the White, creating a deadly ice tornado, which aggressively seeks enemies and fires off bursts of ricocheting projectiles when you critically strike with skills.
24-second cooldown.
For some further utility and a useful buff, try out the Storming Esh graft. This can be commanded to call down a ring of bolts from the sky
Damn,
that
lucky.
will leave behind the new radiant ground. Radiant Ground grants a potent damage buff to allies standing within it and makes their hit damage lucky. If you're simply after raw damage, look no further than the Erupting Zothgraft, which causes massive eruptions of fire where you command, which then re-erupt when you Warcry. There are a total of 16 different graft types you can grow, each with their own skill. You can even unlock a second graft slot as you progress through Aelith's questline. So feel free to mix and match Flesh Zone horrors to your heart's content. Now, grafts aren't just here to make you stronger, they are also your means of feeding the Genesis tree, which needs constant supplies of graft blood to grow anything useful. You can do this by defeating breach monsters, which will leave behind blood that your graft will automatically collect. When you feed this blood to the tree, your allocated passives will be put to work. This section of the Genesis tree can be used to grow new grafts for you, which the Genesis tree will then birth in a gruesome display.
Okay.
Basic passives on the tree might increase item rarity of birthed grafts, or the chance to birth additional grafts. These passives can target specific types of grafts, and this passive causes grafts to be birthed with a random amount of quality. Quality improves the amount of blood that can be stored by your grafts. This section of the Genesis tree births currency items. Basic passives can result in more or better currency. Allocate this passive to sometimes cause a shower of currency to burst forth from the flesh of the tree. Yeah, it's a bit gross, but working with the organic matter of a bunch of dead otherworldly creatures was never going to be a clean affair. Grafts themselves are born of a different world, so are unmodifiable by most currencies. However, with this passive, the Genesis tree can occasionally grow fleshy mockeries of currency orbs. These function like augmentation orbs, regal orbs, or exalted orbs, but they work on your grafts instead of normal gear. Yep, it's graft crafting.
Damn.
Allocating this passive can result in Foulborn currencies. This Foulborn Exalted Orb, for instance, behaves as a normal Exalted Orb, except it guarantees a higher tier modifier. By locking out a large portion of the lower rolls, a normal Exalted Orb would be able to hit.
Perfect Exalted Orbs are here.
The largest section of the Genesis tree is used to grow rare equipment items. For these, you have a lot of agency to influence the type and modifiers on your grown item. For example, you can specifically target boots with a dexterity requirement, with an increased chance for speed modifiers, and reduced chance for cold modifiers.
Damn.
Or maybe you'd prefer to look for a two-handed axe with increased chance for physical modifiers. This section of the tree is for growing unique items. Similar to the equipment section, there are passives that let you target growing specific types of uniques or rarer uniques. The process of growth is not always a perfect one, however, and can result in some defects. This passive can result in birthed uniques becoming Foulborn, which mutates one of the existing modifiers on the item into a new one, resulting in some interesting new ways to use that unique. For example, this Foulborn Quill Rain no longer has increased projectile speed, but instead has increased area of effect.
I want the less damage removed. How about
Another
that?
Foulborn Quill Rain could replace the mana gained on hit with the much more powerful modifier where insufficient mana doesn't prevent your bow attacks. Here are some other examples.
Ellie Overload? What?
This passive even gives a rare chance for Foulborn uniques to have multiple different modifiers mutated. I'm sure you'll come up with some extremely powerful uses for these. We'll leave it up to you to discover what this mysterious part of the Genesis tree can grow.
The fuck?
So, ultimately, you'll be slaying masses of breach monsters,
What is happening?
harvesting blood with the aid of your grafts, feeding that to the Genesis tree, growing some items and better grafts, and back again to the slaughter. As with all our challenge leagues, this league will come with a set of 40 challenges to pursue, and completing them will award you with the Keeper of the Flame armor set, allowing you to truly embrace becoming a monk and worshipping the Dreamer. Now, graft skills won't be the only new tools to play with. In 3.27, we're also adding a collection of new skill and support gems. Let's go over them now. Kinetic Rain is a new wand attack, which covers the ground in unstable kinetic energy. These hazards collapse at the slightest touch, releasing their energies into any unfortunate soul who happens to be standing on them. With enough projectiles and area of effect, an enterprising Exile could carpet the world in dangerous kinetic force.
This on ballistas?
Wall of Force creates a barrier of kinetic power, causing allied projectiles to ricochet towards targets automatically. Drop one behind a boss and redirect the bolts of your armies. I'm sure you'll find ways to break this one. Conflagration is a new bow attack which rains down fiery bolts from above that stick into the ground and pulse as you approach. Once you get close enough, these bolts detonate, causing ravaging ignites. These bolts chain react, allowing you to create fields of incendiary destruction.
Interesting.
Thunderstorm is a bow attack, which creates a whirling storm of wind and lightning where it lands. While you're within the storm, it will rapidly grow, until it becomes violently thunderous with lightning-infused clouds.
Bro.
At this point, leaving the storm will cause it to detonate, dealing damage to everything within and releasing a flurry of tornadoes in all directions.
I'm hard. Wait, what?
Attacking with Kinetic Fusillade will create hovering orbs of energy.
Ew.
These linger for a few moments above you, before zipping off to nearby
Ew.
targets, chaining
Ember
between
Fusillade?
them, then detonating.
Ew.
Living Lightning support will bring to life living sparks of energy, elemental minions that zap through packs of enemies with speed and ease. Use these alongside your spellcasting to augment your pack clearing abilities, or find whatever means possible to cover the world in living sparks of ruin. Windburst support unleashes chaotic tornadoes as you attack, which ricochet around wildly and quickly. These deal moderate damage as they travel, but will explode into a highly damaging burst when they expire.
Okay.
So it's a choice between scaling their duration up to get better coverage, or down to access the burst more quickly.
Interesting.
Kinetic Instability is a support gem to go along with the new wand attacks that causes enemies slain to leave behind those same orbs of shimmering energy that Kinetic Rain creates.
Nah.
One might ponder just how many orbs you can create if you were to use both. In 3.27, Exiles will be able to absorb the power of some of the bosses they defeat.
Damn, those look great.
These take the form of new Ascendancy class options, called Bloodlines. Bloodline classes are a new means of character customization in the endgame. They are secondary Ascendancy classes that are unlocked by defeating specific endgame bosses.
Secondary.
They are allocated with your normal Ascendancy points, and you'll have to choose how many of your points go into the original Ascendancy and how many into your Bloodline class.
Oh.
This means there is a nigh limitless ability to mix
Oh
and
my
match
god,
here,
that's interesting.
as you could choose to invest just a couple points into your Bloodline, or max it out. And you could take any Bloodline with any base Ascendancy class that you see fit. To unlock your Bloodline, hunt down the endgame boss whose power you desire, and defeat them. Or have a friend help, and claim the power for your own. There are 10 Bloodline classes to discover. Bosses who offer this power are typically associated with past leagues, giving additional reasons to engage with that league content. Let's run over a few examples. The Chaos Bloodline will be offered to you by the Trial Master, if you manage to succeed his final challenge. With his blessing, you can greatly augment your Vow skills in different ways.
Okay.
Priest of Yalmak lets you use Vow skills much more often,
Okay.
while Priest of Kopek makes it harder to build up Vow skills, but makes them far more powerful.
What?
Or take Corruption's Embrace, which grants more Vow Keystone powers the more corrupted items you have equipped.
Yo.
The Ashabi bloodline can be gained by, you guessed it, defeating Ashabi. Her abilities are drawn from the 3 types of life force that manifest within as Marian spirits. The Wild Bear rewards you with adrenaline for generating rage. The Vivid Cat gives your elusive buffs a chance to refresh, as well as making you more stealthy while elusive.
Ooh.
The Primal Owl allows your unleashed spells to reoccur many additional times, and get stronger for each time they reoccur. The Nameless bloodline comes from the King in the Mists. Be forewarned, his menacing power comes at a great cost. With the Unseen Hand, you can equip a third ring.
Come on, dude.
But you'll have to decide if that comes at the expense of having no amulet, no belt, or no flasks.
Okay.
Unlight Silhouette adds a hefty life cost to all your spells, but they deal additional chaos damage based on the amount of life spent. Of course, there is more to come. What powers might you glean from delving deep underneath Wraithblast to fight all the Crystal King? What secrets can you learn from Lycia, Herald of the Scourge, waiting at the end of the Forbidden Sanctum? As you can imagine, there are countless possible combinations with the system. You could be a Slayer that embraces corruption and vile power, or perhaps you'll play an Occultist that doubles down on their dark power by integrating the Nameless Bloodline. We are excited to see what crazy and interesting builds players come up with. In the most recent Path of Exile 2 expansion, the Third Edict, we introduced a much anticipated feature, fully asynchronous trade. It was a fantastic success.
Yeah,
so now we're excited to announce that we'll also be adding this feature into Path of Exile 1. When you reach Act 6, you'll be able to find Faustus in Lion Eye's Watch. Previously, he just operated the currency exchange. Now, he will also act as a steward for your merchants tabs. These are where you can place items for sale, for direct and instant purchase by other players even when you're not online.
Let's fucking go.
To list an item, simply place it in the tab and select a currency and an amount.
I'll let you know.
Scam.
Once listed, other players will be able to find the item by searching for it via the trade website
Nemus nerf?
or the new in-game market
I didn't see
search. To purchase something for yourself, it's as easy as hitting this button, which will teleport you to the seller's hideout, where you can view their merchants tabs, buy the item, and also view the rest of their wares in case something else catches your eye. Every purchase costs a small fee of gold, as Faustus takes his cut. To account for this further drain on gold, acquisition and cost balance elsewhere in the game has been adjusted.
Nice.
Anything you've managed to sell successfully will have your profits collected here, in a separate tab to claim at your leisure. To be clear, previous means of trading, such as via pre-existing premium stash tabs and the website, will still function just as before. Merchants tabs, and the asynchronous trading that comes with them, are an entirely additive feature on top of the already existing methods to trade. You might find yourself needing the trade system to buy some upgrades, because this update also introduces 3 new Uber Pinnacle boss fights. These encounters are manifested from the memories of Zana, and in her long torment, they have festered into something truly deadly. These fights offer an imposing challenge, alongside powerful rewards. In order to gain access, similar to existing Uber Pinnacle fights, you'll need to discover fragments dropped by Tier 17 map bosses. Each attempt at the new Uber Pinnacle fights will require 5 of these. Let's dig into some of the challenges you'll need to face in these new Uber versions. In the original incarnation of Neglect fight, the statues can be used to block the laser beams to hide behind, giving you an opportunity to avoid being shocked, frozen, or killed. When you run near these statues, they activate and allow you to reposition them. While activated, they will not stop the lasers, meaning you want to position them well, then avoid them. However, in the Uber version of this fight, instead of being a safe haven, the statues will refract the laser beams, causing a ruckus of energy to cover the arena. Activating them will prevent the refraction, so unlike the base fight, where you want to position them well and then avoid them, you'll be wanting to constantly keep these statues active.
Jesus.
But then, you have to deal with their assault of attacks. While fighting the incarnation of fear, these fiery orbs will slowly clutter up the arena, locking off portions of it until you bait the boss into detonating them himself with his thrown spear. When Uberified, these orbs are attached by a flaming leash to the boss, rotating around him constantly. More and more will spawn as the fight goes on, making it even more imperative that you clean them up by cleverly using the boss's abilities against him.
Any melee builds?
Normally in the Incarnation of Dread fight, during the bullet hell phase, you have to acquire a red rose, run it to the boss, then collect a blue rose, doing the same, causing it to get heavy stunned and interrupting its mechanic. In the Uber version, you have to do the same, but in order to get the blue rose, you have to defeat the Incarnation of Neglect. And
Jesus.
to get the red rose, you have to defeat the Incarnation of Fear. Good luck. Given the
Jesus
difficulty of these bosses, their rewards should be worth your while. Let's take a look at some. From the Uber Incarnation of Neglect fight, we have Bitter Instinct, a spiky shield that turns retaliatory strikes into preemptive ones, making it just a matter of time before the long arm of justice crushes your foes.
Okay.
Alternatively, you might find Festering Resentment, a poisoned blade with an unending supply of toxins built into the hilt. These toxins are put to good use, causing every spell you trigger to be capable of poisoning with all damage it deals, enabling a truly crazy trigger-centric poison ruckus.
That's cute.
And from the Uber Incarnation of Dread, the Hallowed Monarch, a counterpart to the Dark Monarch, which focuses more heavily on investing into one or a few minions, rather than growing your hordes to massive proportions. Storm Rayclast, with your chosen few at your side, stealing power from your enemies as you go. We've got a number of quality of life changes to bring to 3.27 as well. Many of which you may have seen already in some of our pre-livestream teasers, but for those who haven't, Heist is a mechanic which has long frustrated some players who may otherwise have been interested in the rewards it has to offer, but have no desire to grind through the early progress of finding and running low-level contracts to get all of the rogues to their maximum level. Well, starting in 3.27, Heist rogues will automatically begin at maximum level, so you can start your dubious criminal career without all the busy work. Points invested into your Atlas passive tree will now be refundable with gold. Just speak to Kerak to do so. For players who love jumping between strategies, there's also an option to instantly refund your entire tree, which of course can now also be done with your regular passive tree as well. Now you can make all your decisions with no regrets. Well, maybe some regrets. You no longer need to purchase bestiary orbs. You can now itemize beasts for free directly from your bestiary. From late Act 1, you can now mass identify your items at an NPC in every town, and from Helena in your hideout. This does not require Scrolls of Wisdom at all.
Bigly.
While using an Alteration Orb, you can now hold Alt to swap to using an Augmentation Orb, if one is available.
Huge.
Opening a Blight Chest will now open all other Blight Chests near it. Rogue's disenchanting services can now be accessed from towns and hideouts. Kerak missions now have a handy icon to show at a glance what kind of mission they are. Holding down Control and right-clicking on stacked decks will now continuously open them to your inventory, notifying you in chat what the outcome is. If you still want to open them direct to the ground, to let your loot filter provide a dose of dopamine, you can still do that too by also holding Shift. Vaal Orbs can be used on monsters encased in essences, to the same effect that Remnants of Corruption have.
Yep.
When multiple skill gems are ready to level at the same time, you'll now be able to click this button to level them all up at once. Next up, we're going to be talking about our new League supporter packs.
With those new skills.
Today, we're launching 2 new series of supporter packs. The Champion of Theopolis and the Verdant Magus packs. Each tier contains the pack's full face value in points, alongside several exclusive microtransactions.
Those new skills.
As always, the microtransactions in these packs are purely cosmetic and do not affect your character's power or progression in any way. The Champion of Theopolis series of supporter packs contains 6 exclusive microtransactions. Manifest a Champion's Ferocity, as the Lion's Might unique finisher effect rips your enemies to shreds. Open the Champion of Theopolis portal to end your
That's a good
crusade through
portal.
maps in the style expected of a true victor of the arena.
Damn.
Defeat your enemies like a true gladiator, wearing the Grand Champion of Theopolis armor set.
Ballista
The
Wander.
armor awarded only to the most elite warriors
We'll
of
see.
the Grand Arena. Take charge of the situation and storm into combat with the Flaming Minotaur's Quicksilver Flask effect.
They didn't talk about Ascendancy
The
reworks.
Champion's Podium map device
Or skill
rises
balance.
up to honor the glory you've achieved as you activate it. Ascend the stairs and stand atop the platform as you enter your maps. Each flame surrounding the platform represents a remaining use on your portal. The burden-back billy goat carries all the supplies necessary for a campsite as he travels behind you in battle. When placed in a hideout, instead of roaming around like your other pets, their supplies are deployed, creating a small camp where you can access your stash and providing a place to take a load off while you rest next to the campfire.
Take a load off? What?
The Verdant Magus series contains 6 exclusive microtransactions. Having Faustus sell your items on your behalf is great and all, but sometimes you just want to feel a little bit more shady about your dealings. The Back Alley Trader hideout decoration is more secretive with your trades, creating distance between you and your customers.
I like
Note
it.
that until 3.27
That's
is
funny.
released, this Back Alley Trader will only serve as your currency exchange. Once it's out, it will be updated to have the new Managed Shop option to also facilitate your trades. The Verdant
actually cool.
Wayfinder pet is a loyal companion to any Master Magus.
Good boy.
As you approach waypoints, it envelops them with its vines, guiding
That's
you
cool.
throughout Rayclast. Control Earth and nature itself, as the Great Verdant Magus armor set envelops you in the ancient power now lost to time.
Eh.
There's also a matching back attachment included.
Looks fucking garbage.
Remnants of the forest ripple out from
I
within
want
you
just
with
the
the
first one.
Verdant Magus level up effect equipped,
I want the good
restoring
boy.
life to the corrupted land. Call on an ancient golem to use their power to create a safe passage for you to retreat through with the arcane
I don't want to be
golem portal.
Hagrid. Thank you very much.
As a Supreme Verdant Magus, you can travel to your Arcane Isle hideout. A cluster of islands held together by ancient magic passed down between elite mages. Stand atop your tower and relish the great heights you've reached
That looks
above
cool.
those who have not harnessed the arcane.
I like this. This looks really cool.
These packs are now available for purchase on both PC
Okay.
and console and will remain so during Path of Exile, Keepers of the Flame.
That's really cool.
Additionally, any microtransactions from these supporter packs will be made available for use in Path of Exile 2. Meanwhile, the Crypt Keeper and Frisian Magistrate packs leave the store forever at the launch of the Keepers of the Flame League, so now's your last chance to purchase them. Thank you so much for your ongoing support. We're just about to start the Q&A with Ziggy D. Afterwards, we'll post the full patch notes
Boys.
for Path of Exile, Keepers of the Flame, at 11 AM New Zealand time, 3 PM Pacific. With release at the end of next week, our community team will be posting crucial information you'll need for the release. Keep an eye on the news. Thanks for joining us today and checking out our latest developments. We're looking forward to holding off the Breachlord's conquest, crafting gruesome grafts, planning dozens of Bloodline-empowered builds, and filling out our tree's tree. We hope you all join us.
Okay.